next year.
I hear you guys had a great time at Frank's, huh?
We did. Yeah, we
that's
did.
good.
We went up there on Friday night, and then Tracy and I wound up staying Sunday night, even though or I'm sorry, Saturday night, even though the conditions weren't reported to be good.
Right.
And earlier in the night, they're actually pretty decent. Then later on, probably around 11 o'clock, this patch of like high clouds came in for about 2 hours, something like that, around 2.5 hours. And then it floated in, it floated out, and then it came back in. It looks like, looking at the data, maybe came in for another half hour off and on. So
Right.
I haven't worked with that data. I took a bunch of data, actually, like the most I've ever taken, because I wanted to do the Western Veil.
Yeah.
I've never really shot that before. I've done a little bit on just 45 minutes on the Eastern Veil.
Right.
So I set up in my backyard, because I haven't used the scope for quite a while because of various things. And so I set up in the backyard just to kind of like learn how to polar align again and stuff like that. And I wound up with about a little under 3 hours worth of data. And then I stacked it, but I didn't do anything beyond that. So when I went up to Frank's on Friday night, I thought, let me shoot more of that. So I framed it about the same. And I wound up shooting like another 3 hours. So I had 6 hours and 40 minutes of clean subs, 2-minute subs.
That's great.
With the Western Veil. And I did wind up stacking it. I did wind up stacking it and doing a processing. And even though there was some haze in the air, stuff like that, especially like Wednesday night when I shot at home, and then Friday night, it almost seems like if you get enough data, it doesn't matter that much, because it's really smooth. The image was really smooth. There's almost no noise reduction was needed in order to have like a smooth background and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I was really pleased with that. And then I want to get back to the Eastern Veil.
Right.
It was really tempting to try to like maybe if September is good and my daughter doesn't have her baby yet, I'll go up to Cherry Springs and do like a four panel mosaic or something like that.
Yeah. Tower, no rough roads, man. Just, keep your feet propped up. Don't, you know what I mean?
I guess.
First things first.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We got to keep our priorities straight.
That's right. That's right. Good for you.
Thank you. But it was good. Yeah, it seemed like everyone had a good night. Al was happy with the conditions. He got some I think like 12th magnitude galaxies, some small galaxies he was working on.
Oh,
Jeremy had the 18 up there.
Yeah.
And we were having fun. He put a filter slide in.
Yeah.
So we were having a lot of fun, like, looking at 03,
comparing,
like looking at the Veil with 03 and comparing it to various filters, stuff like that. So I have the image here, I think, if anyone wants to see it.
Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah.
Love to.
Let me see. All right, move this here. I'll move the folder that it's in out from underneath this window. So let's see. So if I do share, so it says, yeah, do a share thing. Enable sharing.
Okay, it says all participants can share. Does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, let me do it this way. Probably easier. Screen 1, screen 2. Sorry, it's the dual monitor thing. interesting though. Why isn't it? Let's just do this. Yeah, so I don't see it now.
Yeah, I see it.
I
Yep,
see it.
it's working.
The veil.
Yeah, it's the east. Yeah, I can't see my screen. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so that's the
Oh,
Wow.
Oh,
Beautiful.
so what is it? Is it this with annotations in it, or is it the background screen?
It's your background.
Yeah, that's not what I want. I
You're
pointed
still
to the
beautiful.
folder. I pointed to the folder. Hold on. I'm going to stop the share and try sharing it again.
I guess you're not doing the Templar Star Parties tonight.
It got canceled.
I got canceled.
Canceled.
Now is it doing anything?
Well, you see
Where
the
we see
folder
the,
with your pictures.
yeah,
It
But
looks like you didn't
it's
click
not
it, Gar. I mean, maybe you did. But it doesn't show that you did.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm not sure why. It's the dual monitor thing. I'm going to move the folder over to the main monitor.
That gives me trouble too.
Yeah, it's a pain. So let's do that. What's that, hon?
Do you need help?
Oh, my expert's here.
There you go.
Our Zoom expert.
She'll
Love
fix it.
Hold on.
Love it.
There she is.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
hello,
Tracy.
Oh, here we go.
So if you share your whole screen.
No, I got it. I got it.
Okay.
Hey, there it is.
That looks better.
Tracy, you want to come here and fix my stuff too?
No.
Boy, it's beautiful.
That gorgeous?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Good.
Amazing job, Gary.
Maybe. Yeah, especially with the haze and all that. It's not so much haze, but it was you could tell there was a lot of moisture in the air. The first night, Friday night, the seeing was quite bad. But this again, I think it's you put enough data together and you wind up with
So
with
this is,
something decent.
you said this is with bad transparency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the transparency in the various apps. Like I looked at you know, the dark sky clock. I looked at what's it called?
6 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, the one like the media blue and stuff like that. They were all like gray. So
Yeah.
all of the seeing stuff was gray until about 2 a.m. And the transparency was pretty light blue. And then on the following night, it was fairly similar. The seeing was a little better. So that's that. And even with the amount of detail, it came out pretty smooth.
Sure did. That's great, Gar.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Did you stack all the frames or did you filter any or weight them or anything?
This is 200 frames stacked. I had a total of about 204, something like that. There were a few that I dumped for various reasons, and PixInsight does weighting based on signal noise ratio. Basically, is how I have it set. So it does the weighting on the individual frames.
That's yeah, it works great.
Did you use subframe selector?
I didn't use that. I used Blink.
Okay.
I use the blink function and just go through them. I do it two ways. One is I scroll through them one at a time at full frame to just, you know, see if there's anything weird going on.
Right.
And then I zoom in usually to the center of the image, so that I'm not looking at any kind of distortion in the corner stars or anything like that. And then I scroll through them again. And then if every once in a while, you'll get one that's, that has a little tracking error or something like that. I mean, in one of the batches, a cloud came in, so I lost tracking altogether. So there were about 5 frames that got dumped.
I like subframe selector because you can sort them first by eccentricity and then by SNR, and then, you can keep whittling them down. By the time you're done, your 100 frames, you only have 10 left. But I mean, you don't have to be that precise, but I noticed that I should do a comparison one time. Well, I mean, I have done, but I should present one. If I have like 150 frames and I stack them all, and then I compare that to ones that I selected, like the 50 best, come make a better picture than, the 100, when you have everything, considering everything, some bloated stars or clouds or whatever. So you definitely, you have to go through the data. Just depends on how deep you want to dig.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't dig very deep, other than if there's some obvious stuff or trails, stuff like that. I kind of trust the tools, probably too much, but I'm also, part of it is I'm not looking for sort of a perfect image. I'm not looking to necessarily do like a real big enlargement or something like that. I mostly use them, I'll make I'll make a desktop view, like a wallpaper view, and a lot of times that's where they go, or they go up onto the club website.
Right. It makes more sense. I mean, I suppose if you have a permanent fixture and you can take an unlimited amount of images, then fine. But if you're like gonna move your gear and go to Frank's, you want to use every last frame you can use, because
Yeah, within reason. Yeah, because I don't get that many frames. I don't let it sit in the backyard for a week running on a clear week or something like that. So,
if we have a clear week.
well, yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm happy with just a few hours where I can see anything.
Right.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
The stand wildfires are still influencing my imaging. The Canadian wildfires are still problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to be running at least through October. It's really a shame.
Don't say that, Joe.
I know.
It is. There's a few hundred
I
of them.
won't say it, but it's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's
Read
crazy.
your mind, Joe.
I was flying through Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they even had the fire simulated.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
it looked cool at night though. It was like, right, I'm like, wait, was that a volcano? No, it was the wildfires. I was flying near Monterey Bay in California. Oh,
All the
beautiful.
way down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was flying up in Canada too. I don't know if I noticed any in Canada, but you think that would be the last place? It's all tundra up there, right?
No,
Yeah, forest.
no.
A lot of forest. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of low.
I
low
guess lower
pine.
latitudes.
Yeah, short pines. They're stubby, but they're very, very dense. At least the areas where we used to go fishing up there around James Bay.
I'm told that they're not real big on, clearing areas in forest, and thinning out the wood.
They don't like the rake.
Due to habitat loss for certain species.
Oh,
And, Trudeau, I think, was criticized a little bit by, the inhabitants up there, who are really suffering from this for not doing that, But even in the United States, I think the state forests are in better shape than the national forests, in terms of making them a little bit safer wildfire wise.
well, when the land comes back after a fire, it comes back, 10 times better. But
If it's not
look
too
at the
hot.
price. Yeah, look
Yeah,
at the
if
price.
the fire doesn't burn too hot, it will. But if the fire is like, if they have all this underbrush, sometimes that's not the case, and then erosion sets in.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the real bad ones are the crown fires. Those are the ones that
Right.
really get hot. The ones
Yeah.
that take the treetops out. This stuff they're getting in New Jersey, if it doesn't get up into the treetops, it's actually not too bad.
Right. Yeah, Tom and I, when we were up there, I mean, the few hours that it was clear, I mean, it was really a beautiful, beautiful sky, you know, but when I
It
was
was,
coming
it was
home,
surprisingly transparent.
yeah, when I was
Really?
coming home on 91 and 95, there was this giant wave of clouds that I had seen on Astrospherics going, you know, it was coming in from the west, and as I was coming home and I could see it, it was like a blanket, you know, like a blizzard was coming in, you know, I could see
Oh.
it going from, you know, my right to my left, you know, it was still not great.
Glad to see you, Gary.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, it's been a
So,
while. How you doing, Gary? Are you
How you feeling,
recovered?
man?
It's good to see everyone.
You recovered?
No, they said I have quite a ways to go, but I'm starting to get, you know, memory back. I'm starting to get various things like that. Typing is still challenging, so I've been off email a lot, but I'm getting my motor skills back, stuff like that, and my balance is still kind of off. But the therapy that they have me on, I'm going twice a week right now, and then they're going to increase that to probably 3 or 4 times a week. Is definitely helping. It's definitely helping. It kind of kicks my ass. It wipes me out energy wise, but it's definitely helping. So I for those who maybe haven't heard or whatever, I had a very minor bicycle fall on my bicycle on a trail. Like I was with my grandson and with my son and his girlfriend and, you know, Tracy, and there was a route in the trail, and I kind of went to the right of the route, and there was this because it was the lowest point, and we were going really slow, and there was a pothole that was filled with leaves, and it just sucked the whole front tire and flipped me over. I did sort of this like literally just a face plant, no forward movement, just a face plant, and I went unconscious, and then I wound up getting amnesia. So you know, they did a CT scan, all that, everything was, there were no bleeds, nothing like that. And I hurt my hand, the back of my hand. And then I went home, you know, I did the prescribed stuff and stayed off computers, did all kind of stuff. And then it started to get actually better after about a month or 5 weeks. I had a headache for about a month, for about 5-6 weeks. And then it started to get better. And then what happened was all these other symptoms came in, which they said is very common, like tons of other symptoms, dizziness, no nausea. The headaches went away, dizziness, pain in my left eye felt big for some reason, weird audible effects in my left ear, almost like if you were to stand in front of a fan and like put a pillow in front of it, like this.
Yikes.
Only certain times, and only motor sounds, which was really quite interesting. And that was Memorial Day weekend. That was the day before Memorial Day, and it's still going on. So they said this is all typical stuff. But I've had concussions before. I've had 2 before, and one that was from a bad bicycle fall. It was nothing like this. Like in like a week or so, I was fine, all that kind of stuff. This is just dragging on. They said it's not age, it's nothing like that. It's just the way you happen to hit. And this is what happened. You know, the brain got injured and the brain got swollen, and this is what happens.
That's really a shame.
If it's any
Yeah.
consolation, you look great. I mean, you sound great.
I feel like I don't, but thank you. I mean, in terms of sounding great, I struggle to find words, stuff like that. And like my math skills are like for shit, which is, they said that's one of the last ones to come back, your math skills. I used to do all this stuff in my head.
Yeah, you're an engineer.
You guys know what I kind of can do, and I have all this stuff in my head, and like, forget that. Like I had a hard time subtracting 7 from 92 the other day.
I can't do it now, Gary.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, don't challenge us with that one.
but anyway, but
I
thanks
could do
for asking.
92 minus 7, but not 7 from 92.
Yeah, but thanks for asking. It's definitely getting better. They said it could take, it could take some number of months, like 6 months or something like that.
If you didn't say anything, I mean, now that I'm scrutinizing, okay, maybe I'm. It's hard to notice, but your demeanor is definitely, a little bit changed.
Yeah, I feel flatter. I definitely feel flatter. I also I fatigue really fast. So like going to Frank's Friday and Saturday was a challenge because I was in the dark. It was my first time really in the dark on uneven surface, all that kind of stuff. And there were a couple times like Tracy had to grab me, Jeremy had to grab me because I tend to lean sometimes in certain
You're
directions.
listing to one side.
Yeah.
Hmm,
Yeah, when I walk, I drift to the right, which is odd. And when I stand straight or lean forward, I drift to the left.
that's interesting.
Is
Wow.
this since or has that been before?
What's that?
Is this since you got the concussion?
Oh, yeah. No, I was always fine. And I had always really good balance and all that kind of stuff. But like my memory was always really good, and I have a hard time. Like they had words, like lists of words. You have to practice shifting your eyes because the tracking of your eyes affects your balance, all that stuff. So they have all these exercises basically that you do. And there were 2 columns of words, and they had 1 or more letters common in each word. And you couldn't move your head; you just had to move your eyes left and right. And there were some words. I mean, these aren't hard words. They're like 5, 6 characters. And like it probably took me 25 seconds to find a common character. Not typical behavior when you're
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's just you become like blind to it for some reason. I mean, I saw them. It's not like I couldn't see them. It's just that I couldn't figure out which one was a common letter because you're only looking at one at a time.
Brain is an
Gary?
amazing organ.
Gary, are you
Yeah.
retired or are you still working?
I'm retired. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is good because as like vice president of engineering of a medical company, it would be a little bit tough to kind of function. But they did say the other day, which was encouraging, that the kind of the higher level of acuity you had in the past, the faster it tends to come back, and the more complete it'll tend to come back. Now they could have been blowing smoke up my butt, but I don't
makes
think
sense,
so. It kind of makes sense.
It makes sense.
They said speech, memory, and math are like the last to come back. The math being the hardest and stuff like that. So I notice improvement though. I tell you, I can like drive again. I can do all that kind of stuff. I mean, Tracy's with me when I drive. In case I start to drift off the road, she can,
Go to the left.
she can push me that way. So
Yeah, I had a similar issue. I was hit by a car on a bike, and I have amnesia, and I had a skull fracture, and so, but
Thanks. Skull
it did come back. I was in college at the time, and I have amnesia. I have amnesia from it, but I gained function. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I hope the same happens for you.
they're encouraging. They're
Yeah.
definitely encouraging, and I can see improvement each week, almost basically each session. The sessions wipe me out, which is interesting. They said with the concussed brain, that they think of it as an injury of energy.
Yeah.
So that the amount of processing your brain does without you thinking about it, just in the background, just day in, day out, is using a tremendous amount of energy. When you have swelling and stuff like that,
Yeah,
that energy just depletes
Yeah.
you, and you can't multitask.
yeah,
You can't do a bunch of stuff like that. Like stuff I just took for granted. They were some of my gifts in my career, was being able to multitask all this stuff, do all this stuff in my head. And it's such an awakening, like a rude awakening, when it's all of a sudden gone.
yeah.
So
I think the brain uses about 25% of the body's energy at rest. You know, that's considerable, you know?
that's really a lot. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Do
I
we
would,
want to
I would
post
say
this?
it's a lot.
Do we want to post this?
Do what?
This is
Do we wanna-
already, this is being recorded. I could delete it.
I'm just raising that question, you
Oh,
know?
It's live right now, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. I haven't really said anything.
Okay,
It's fine.
okay.
It's fine. I have no secrets.
But none of us are
You're an
HIPAA
open
auditors.
book.
I have secrets.
None of us
Well-
are HIPAA auditors, are we?
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, Gary, some of the symptoms that you've been describing are very similar to when I have a porphyria attack. I start noticing my, the brain is the first place that I notice. And, I can't complete sentences, and, my math skills are all. I was at the DAS astronomy meeting, and I was explaining my setup, my observatory. I couldn't explain it. I mean, I'm the one who built the damn thing.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I couldn't think of the name. That's a focuser. I couldn't think of the name of a focuser. I mean, anyway, but the brain is a fascinating organ.
It is. I'm glad I'm married to a level 1 trauma center neuro nurse for 30
Yeah,
years.
really. That's
Oh
gotta
yeah,
help
that
too.
does help.
I tell you, it does. It does. Except that,
That showed foresight.
are you in the
Yeah.
shower or you're down here? Oh, she's in the sunroom. I was going to say, except sometimes she could be a little bit of a pain to keep me exercising and
Well,
keep me doing stuff.
that's what you
Yeah.
need.
Get me
Tough
better.
taskmaster.
That's what we all
Gary,
need.
Gary, how did
Yeah.
you manage to get out of the woods after your injury?
Well, coincidentally, it was the thing I was 9/10 of a mile into the ride. So we had just started the ride, and my son and my grandson wanted to take a picture with this tree. We went to Bald Eagle State Park, and there's the largest the largest red oak in the state of Pennsylvania that's at that park. Well, that coincidentally wound up being pretty close to a parking lot. And the pothole that I hit was probably 20 feet away.
Oh wow.
In fact, there was even a bench so people could sit and watch the tree. And
Yeah.
and it was really weird. So they
Okay.
wound up finding a ranger. My son went back to get his truck so they could get the bikes and kind of get me out of there. And they saw a ranger on the way, so they told the ranger. 2 of them came over, and they checked it out. They told us where to go, all this kind of stuff. And then they actually took our bikes back. Tracy got our van, and then drove me up to Mount Nittany Hospital, up at the medical center. So, and it was weird, the tricks your brain plays on you. Like when I first got up, I was unconscious for about 20 seconds, so not real long. And then I remember coming to, and they were kind of figuring out if I could get up or what was going on. And I remember immediately saying, you have to get the bike out of my legs, because my legs were all tangled up in the bike. I said, you need to get the bike off of me. So they did that, and they said I jumped just right up. And I started to say, man, I can't believe that happened. All this stuff. Look at this pothole here. It's filled with leaves. You couldn't. And I had my foot in it. I remember saying that twice to two different people. They said I said it about 6 times. I just said it over and over. And that I don't remember. And then I turn around, and this is, 2 minutes later, I turned around and I said, where's my bike? I said, let's finish the ride. And they said, no, you can't, you need to sit down. And I said, why? Did something happen? I totally forgot that the accident,
Wow.
like literally
Wow.
like
Man.
5 words and then the next 5 words. And that's when they realized that you need to sit down. And they asked me what day of the week it was. And I, being a cocky ass, I said, oh, yeah, everybody knows what day of the week it is. Come on, and they said, what month is it? And I said, come on, stop asking me these questions. This is stupid. And then I realized I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what year it was. I didn't know that it was Memorial Day weekend. I didn't know who the president was, who the vice president was. Like, I didn't know any of that. I knew who the people were. I knew Tracy, my son, my grandson, his friend, but none of that other stuff it was just gone.
Well, none of this stuff is important.
Yeah, for the most part. So anyway, enough of that stuff, but thanks, guys.
Those roots are nasty. If you're lucky, there's no boulders around.
Yeah, well, the route was fine. It was the big pothole behind it. I could put my whole foot in it up to about the top of my ankle.
Yeah.
So it was about that deep, and it was I have a size 10.5 shoe, so it was fairly good size. But anyway,
Appreciate you sharing. My partner
Yeah.
had a TBI and she's actually listening. So thank you.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it similar symptoms or similar kind of stuff, or?
Yeah. She recognized a lot of it and was talking about vestibular therapy and different stuff. So
Correct. Yeah, that's what they have me working on now, because I'm
that's good.
still having balance issues, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I developed vestibular issues in 2022 myself, and they have me, doing exercises with little flags that you move your eyes but not your head, and sometimes
Right.
your head's opposite of the thing. And I was going to ask you at the end of a lot of these exercises, like you said, it's very draining. It feels like somebody's taken a stick and stirred my brain. Sometimes it's really it's a really odd feeling, and and even still, I go through a little transition now when I go into from light to dark. When I cut the lights out at night, I have some balance issues, so it kind of cuts into my astrophotography and wanting to walk through a field or whatever. But
Yeah,
I'm like you. My wife lets me drive by myself now, so that's a lot of improvement for me in the last year.
Yeah.
So it does get better.
Have you tried dimming the lights slowly? I love these colored lights that I have in the back. And before I go to bed, the upstairs lights an hour before they start dimming, and that, helps me sleep, number one. But also, like, I'm always tired down here because these lights now are red, but upstairs there, I keep them warm, a white, warm light. And, around 9 o'clock, it's 75%, at 10 o'clock, they're at 50%. And then, that way, you're ready for bed. There's no blue. The blue really messes me up for bedtime. And especially if you're going to go out and do astronomy, you don't want any of that blue light. Messes up your night vision.
No.
But does anybody have anything they want to share?
I have an update for John.
Yeah. What you got?
John, get the focuser.
Yeah. Okay.
Get the
I
focuser.
second that, John. I second it.
So I'm an engineer as well. And, I studied, I remember doing a lot of controls courses, and we always talked about the importance of feedback and getting feedback right, et cetera. I kind of struggled with the concepts when I was in engineering school. But I tell you what will drive it home is make yourself focus using a digital camera, watching how the stars change between one image to the next, and having this time delay because, and again, I think it's part of some of the vestibular issues I have is that it's like, I can't remember sometimes when I'm really getting close. Or did I turn the knob in or turn the knob out last time? And and then you're stuck because you can't remember, and it's a 50-50 shot. And the odds are that you're going to get it right half the time, but I'm not that lucky. So it was, and I was a little concerned about I got a ZWO EAF focuser, and when I got it, it didn't say that it would fit my TV 85 telescope, but it turns out all I really needed to do is take off the coarse focuser knob, and I got an M20 screw and cut the head off, and then I flat spotted it with my grinding wheel, and so that I got a really great grip. And there were some set screws that weren't being used for anything on the bottom of the TeleView focuser, which I could attach the bracket to. It all went together amazingly well. And I'd read some stuff on Cloudy Nights, which I really need to stop reading Cloudy Nights. They talked about some of the backlash issues or whatever, and I turned the thing on. And I also have the ZWO ASI Air controller, and oh my gosh, that thing did the most beautiful curve fit. And then it does the curve fit, and then it narrows down at the bottom, and then it goes an optimization routine, and the whole thing takes about a minute. And I swear the stars, I've played with it for the last 2 nights just to see how well it could do in really crappy skies. And I was blown away. In fact, I actually got a pretty good image of the Andromeda galaxy. I forgot to take the appropriate flats and the calibration frames last night, but I restacked it right before this session tonight, and I'm actually, given the sky conditions, I'm actually pretty happy with it. So,
Yeah, you have it there,
Feel free
Stan?
to share it.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I'll be glad to show it
I'm
to
sold
you.
on the focuser. I like PID loops and feedback controllers, and I hear you. Whenever
Yeah.
you have like a 10-second frame and you're trying to focus, the latency just makes you an unstable controller.
It does. It really,
Absolutely true.
I have found it to just be, it was just so vexing. And the problem is because we have such limited sky availability. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, I got clouds coming in. I don't need to be fooling around with the fact that I can't see this thing. So
Oh, nice.
there's
very
my
nice.
Look at that.
there's my
That's no calibration frames, huh?
well,
Really?
that is like I did do lights, darks, and
Oh, this is the
flats.
restack.
This was
one
the
that we got.
restack that I did. Yeah.
The stars look good.
I thought the stars, to me, that was the thing I wanted to show you, John. I just wanted you to see, look at those stars, man.
I'm sold. Take
Yeah,
my money.
I'm telling you right now, that to me was, and I'll show you I took a couple of shots of like the curve fit. So this is the initial curve fit, and you sit there and you watch it, and it does this dot, this dot, this dot, and then it starts to draw the line. And then it goes through and it says, okay, well, I'm kind of here. And this is like the first step, and it'll calculate the curve succeeded. And then I'll continue to find the fine focus point, and it just zeroes in and it says, okay. And literally, I don't think it took a full minute to run. I really don't. I was, and then I think I took just a preview image. Well, actually that was another thing that I shot. But I mean, here's what the skies looked like that night. I mean, this was Astrophotography on my phone.
Smoky.
And I was like, literally, I was sitting down the driveway and I'm thinking, I really can only see, I only got to see the North Star for just a little bit. The only 2 stars I could see was Altair and Dedham, and that was it. And
Wow.
I thought there's just absolutely no way I'm going to get anything. And then I just did this is just the preview stack. I just do a live stack right from the ASI Air, and I just let it run.
Is that your 585 MC?
That's the 585 MC.
Yeah, it's a little workhorse. It does more than planets.
It really does. I will say that I'm still struggling to figure out the magic combination with that on the planets and the moons. I can still take better pictures of the moon with my my iPhone 12 Pro just attached to a TeleView eyepiece. I'm still much happier with my. In fact, this was the best moon image that I've gotten with the ASI Air. I'm still.
Are you using any filters?
Yeah, actually, I've got a beta neutral density filter. I think it's 0.6. Was it only lets like 12.5% of the light through?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still. I think that there's a difference between just the depth of focus, I think, on the 585 MC versus, this is what I can do with I took this just a few minutes later. I just took out the image train and plugged in the my iPhone 12 Pro.
There's more contrast there. with
Was that first shot just a single frame?
Just a
Stan, or
single
was-
frame. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All of this, just a single frame.
Yeah, with the planets and all, you really had in the moon, you really have to shoot the video. You'll
Yeah.
be much happier.
Yeah, I actually I did try that a few days ago. Oh, here's a picture. My wife was walking and she saw
Oh, nice.
a red-tailed hawk in one of the nearby trees. She was pretty excited about. There she is. There she is checking them out right there. She's like, "Gotta take a picture of that." So that was my whole. I have a TV, a TeleView 60, and I use that to shoot him. But I did do. I got the video. Here's a little short. I won't play the whole thing, but basically that was the video. I'm still. I find I have to fiddle with the colors because I don't think Saturn should look that color, but.
You can get a good picture out of that.
Yeah, I'll show you what I was able to do with that. Let's see, I need to move you guys out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, when you go in the Registack, Stan, there's a on the right-hand side, there's a small grid of different things, and you can do a color balance. Yeah, and it just lines it right up, and
right up for me. Okay, I'll look at that.
yeah, it'll give you a good color. It doesn't really matter what it looks like initially.
Did
Yeah.
you, Stan, did you ever wind up getting the, Tom, help me out. Oh God, the thing Agapios was telling, my brain is not working.
Oh, an
no,
ADC.
you know what? They have been. That's the atmospheric
Dispersion corrector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
corrector. I've looked for those. They're impossible to get right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're all
wow.
back ordered,
They're
or
that
They've
popular.
really gotten popular,
they really have.
Oh, they
Yeah,
work
people have
well.
found those. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting one of those. Yeah. So anyway,
Saturn's Saturn's
Especially-
tough, Stan, because it isn't that bright, so you have to take a little longer exposure. It's harder, You can still make with Jupiter and Mars, they're nice and bright, so you can shoot a lot faster frame rate. And the whole
Yeah.
thing is frame rate. You crop down your sensor a bit, to get it small as you can to crank your frame rate up. And
here's one I thought. I call this one Saturn on fire. I'm not exactly sure
That's
what
what it
went
looks
wrong
pretty
there,
cool.
but
but you got a lot of
it's
I
moons.
thought it was
Comet.
pretty cool.
It looks like it's
Yeah.
the comet Saturn.
Yeah, yeah. I call that one Saturn on fire.
I love it.
Hey, Stan,
Yeah.
I'm looking on AgenaAstro.com and they have them in stock.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Gina Astro has been really good.
$120, right?
Yeah, Steve turned me on to that. Now they bought up OPT's inventory. OPT is out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They moved
Pretty good to
over,
deal
but-
with. Is Agena Astro pretty good to deal with? Because I've been
A very
using-
good deal
They're
with.
really
used
good to
them.
deal with.
Yeah,
They're
I've used them.
Pretty good.
I
Yeah,
like
most
High
of-
Point. I
Most
bought
of my
like
new,
3 things
most
from
of the
Gina.
equipment I got from the last 2 years has been through them, and they've been great. In fact, I had one accessory item I bought the other day, and it looks like it maybe had a little manufacturing defect. So I emailed them and they said, we'll just send you out another one. You know, when you get this one, we'll send you a prepaid label, just send it back. I mean, no questions asked. They didn't really want to know anything about it. Now I have bought certain things from them, so they probably have me in a database as, you know, having bought stuff, but still, I was really surprised at that. Usually places are not that,
Friendly about it.
sort of generous with sending new
Yeah.
gear out.
Their
Two
customer
places
service is really good. They,
Gina and High Point. I can't say anything bad about either of those two.
Okay.
they
Yeah,
kind of,
High Point's really good. The one thing that made me go to Gina originally was until last year, they didn't charge sales tax. And when I bought my camera, when I bought like the ASI 2600 and I bought the 485 and all that, that's a chunk of change. You're spending $2,000 on a camera. You're going to save $120 for that purchase, something like that. Now I guess somebody got wise to them and said, no, you need to start charging sales tax.
That's just the way of the internet now.
I just got
All the governments are tracking that.
I bought mine directly from ZWO, which is from China, so I got away with no sales tax. But I kind of wish I got it from High Point, because now with this USB problem, where am I going to send it back?
Yeah.
You know. But
Yeah,
High Point is great because they're right here in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You know, like turnaround time is quick.
yeah. But Gina's kind
Hopefully
of
you
really
don't
good.
have to send it back if if it's a cable thing or something.
I'm thinking it's just corrosion, and then that deoxit stuff should fix it, I hope. And then when I figure out when I don't use it, I should put some kind of cover on top of that. I wonder if they make little USB,
They do. Yeah, they have them for computers. Be careful with the deoxit. You don't want to. You want to be very sparing. Put that on very sparingly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not USB. The impedances of USB are very tricky, are very particular, especially USB 3, and it's something that. And I think those ports are actually USB 2, so that's less critical. The two ports on the back, but be careful with that. Use
I'll take
very,
that.
very trace amounts.
Yeah, it comes with a little needle, and
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
suggestive that, and I always use a Q-tip, and I wet that. God, man,
Yeah, I wouldn't even put too much on that. That used to be a product called Kremlin years ago in the 70s for the audio industry. So it was mainly developed. It's basically mineral oil. So it was mainly developed for like audio connections for like RCA jacks or like phone jacks, stuff like that. So it's not generally designed for necessarily high-speed data transmission stuff. So
I just want some
be
kind of
careful with it.
protectant on there. At first I was going to use super lube, just as a protectant, but I don't know how well that worked with the electronics. I mean, I had super lube on my belt and everything, because that works really well, like down to minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and to whatever, to super hot. It's much better than using, I even put the super lube on my the garage door opener on my roof.
Right.
I have a grease form of it. It works a lot better than lithium grease, but obviously you really need to use it sparingly. But I wonder if I could, rather than using that stuff or using it often, if I can just put some kind of, I was thinking of maybe putting a piece of tape and a paper underneath of it, and then just taping that port shut with the paper so no moisture or humidity gets in there, or just to decrease the amount of dust and junk that gets in there. But they have to make little plastic USB slot covers, don't
They
they?
do, yeah. They used to come on computers all the time, on laptops, stuff like that. I'm not sure where you get them now. I mean, you could Google it, and I'm sure they're going to
Yeah.
be all over the place. But that used to be common.
There you go. There's a
There's
deoxide.
the spray.
Is
So
that the
that's
same stuff? Is
It's
that
the same stuff, but that's thinner. That's a thinner concentration of it.
the D series? That's yeah.
Yeah, the stuff that Lou has, the oxide that Lou has, is more for direct contact. That would be more for like if you were spraying a potentiometer or something
Yeah,
like
pop
that.
cleaner,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
noise
Yeah, I
or
use it
pop.
on my radios.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. Antenna connectors, that sort of thing.
So they also make one and that stuff's expensive. By that the thing I showed you was $25.
It'll last you. I mean, I still have one from probably 20 years ago or more.
But
It'll last you a long time.
they have different types. I wasn't sure which kind, like one for gold connections and
Yeah.
other one. But
Well, we used to, I don't know, but we used to tell people to give it a little shot of that and clean it out dry it with an acid brush, and then follow up with a pencil eraser. I'm sure not everybody's going to agree.
what?
You don't want to
Pencil-
do that with
A pencil
The
eraser.
little rubber was gonna get stuck in there, and
Well, then you flush it
It's
again.
abrasive.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, it'll take the gold off of the USB connectors. You don't really want to.
I wouldn't know how you could. I don't think you could even get in there with a USB connector to do it. But that's what we would do.
Yeah,
a pipe cleaner maybe.
No, not even a pipe cleaner. No.
No, Q-tip is about as far as I go, And even then, I'm a little hesitant because I don't want the cotton fibers to fall off either.
right.
Right.
And so you want to make sure that one that's no generic, something that's firmly packed.
You're doing the jack, not the plug. The actual part.
The actual part that's inside the camera.
So for real, I would suggest holding it upside down so that the fluid drains out immediately.
Yeah. I have it on my telescope, so every time I do it, it's the same. Every time whenever I focus the telescope, I go through a whole spiel of things that way. Because when I focus, I do this once in a year or whatever. I have the telescope vertical, and it's pointed to the zenith. Because then the the mirror is parallel to the ground. So I try to get that as close as possible, and then lock it down just so the locks kiss the mirror. And always come back when the last focus movement is counterclockwise, so they can come against gravity. And then I use a contraption like what Stan had. To do the fine focusing, on whatever object. Because then, it doesn't matter if you're moving the telescope around, you don't have to worry about mirror flop. But when everything's vertical, then all the ports and everything that can drip out, it's the time to clean everything. You just gotta, I have it took me a while to get it through my head, and enough people to kick me to tell me, Lou, you need a checklist. You have to have a checklist. Yeah, I finally made one. Now, I have it right there on the wall, the observatory. Whenever you have the telescope in this position, this is what you got to do. Boom, 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 boom. I don't miss anything. I mean, I came this close once to closing the roof on my telescope because it was 4:30 a.m. I had no checklist. You're tired. You want to go to bed. You think you did everything. I did everything except park the damn scope. And I hit the button. And that was the day I had the remote, the garage door opener, the remote. I took the battery out and got rid of that. I'm never using that thing again. I don't want to inadvertently sit on that thing in the house while I'm taking a picture. So if I had to do this all over again, though, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't get a garage door opener. I would get as messed up as my hand is, I get my wife to do it. I get a hand crank. That way there is no risk. And and people are telling me, well, Lou, then it's not completely automated. Nothing's I mean, chances are I got to go out there 6 times anyway after I open the roof, because I can't get out there and then, oh, this isn't working. Then I got to get out and change this. Oh, that's not working, So anyway,
Yeah.
I don't like the too much automation. I want to have a little of my hand in some of this stuff,
Yeah. Luke, you brought up a point about the weight of the sort of when you're doing the fine-tune focus. And I wanted to mention to you, Stan, and John, since you're thinking of getting one of these focusers like the EAFs,
Yeah.
is that one thing I found on both my SCTs and my TV85 or my 101 is that there's a switch in the ASI Air for the electronic autofocus called reverse. And if you watch that curve come in, when it's at the bottom of that, when it's getting the finest focus, keep an eye on how the draw tube, the focuser draw tube is moving in. So you want to have it so that you're mostly pointing up, right?
Yep.
Typically you're pointing up. So you want to have gravity, you want to have the gears engaged against gravity. So the last movement of that draw tube should be in.
Yep.
And that focus switch, that reverse switch makes it so you can do that, whether it's an SCT or whatever kind of focus mechanism you have. So just keep an eye on that. You'll see it come in at the very, very end when it's in that fine mode, and then just make sure that draw tube is going in. And then if you notice when it gets to the bottom, the optimal point, it doesn't go past that and try to find it again. It doesn't hunt. It basically gets to that and then stops. And that should be under the gears engaged, basically.
John, you're gonna
Thank you.
love
That's
it.
a great tip.
You know
You're
how many
welcome.
more images you'll be able to take now that you have an autofocuser? It's gonna make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I got I would suggest an inline focuser, but anyway, I mean, whichever kind you get, make sure you listen to what Gary just said. But I tell you, I was going from taking, I don't know, 20 frames in one night to 60, only because, when you have to stop and focus, I'd have to move my telescope to Vega, get the Batinoff mask, put it on there, it would take 20 minutes easily, and then go back and do whatever. Now the telescope can just focus exactly on your target while you're at your target, and it takes a minute.
Yeah.
And I have it set. Mine has a thermometer on it, so that every degree or 2 degrees I can set it to take it refocus. But that's not working now. But I have plan B, where now it says you can tell it every hour or every 15 frames or whatever. So until I figure out what's wrong with the thermometer, I can just do it every so often. And if the temperature's not changing, like, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But in the middle of the summer, it does cool down a lot. In the fall, it's not that big of a deal, and in the winter, it also can get really, really cold at night quickly, I've noticed. And it really, I mean, it affects your focus. It makes and I was racking my brains trying to figure out what was causing my flats to be all messed up, because they would look like donuts. And the outer rim would be a little bit darker than the rest of the dust mote. And it turns out that it was taking the flat frames at least 15 degrees different, off temperature off. So it's important to do the flat frames at the end of the night, or wherever it is, and I mark down the focus position. And then, as long as the focus position is within a certain window, I can use the same flat frames for, a long time. But then when if you notice that you're at whatever number, and if it's off by more than, a few percent, you can't really get away. It depends how well you like your picture, your image. It's, this hobby is, no one said it was easy.
I can show you what I got without an autofocuser if you want.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
There's always more to do, that's for sure. I tell
I
you.
was impressed with what you posted.
Oh, you guys are sweet. All right. What do you guys see the telescope here?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So this is Tom's right. I'm addicted to the newts. I got a 8-inch f4.
Is that a carbon fiber?
Yeah, carbon fiber
Nice.
helps me not have to refocus quite as much, I hope.
That's the
it all
theory.
fits on there, no counterweights.
How light is that?
Everything with a Losmandy plate is about 8 kilograms. So about
Wow.
maybe
It's not bad.
it's under 20 pounds.
20 pounds.
That's
yeah.
very light.
And
It's an 8-inch scope, huh?
yeah. And it's about 800 millimeter focal length. So that's what I'm running. And I
That's
do
beautiful.
actually have a counterweight. I just throw it in the rock bag.
Nice.
So that's what I'm using. And for the
Ooh.
images,
You showed us this before, didn't you?
yeah, you've seen all this if you've looked on the thing, but this one was fun. I put the details, it's 1 second frames, subs, and I shot 2,300. They
You
filled
know,
up almost
I-
half a terabyte and took over an hour to stack them.
I love
wow.
the detail. Look at the, you can see like the stringing effects, the lines that go across it.
Yeah, I used the GIMP to do a cubic upsampling 6x, and then I ran it through some sharpening stuff. But
You did a fine job there, John.
Yeah, it's
thanks.
nice. Nice
Yeah,
color.
Very nice.
That's really
Yeah.
great.
yeah, that's processed RGB. And then this was also processed
Oh, look at
RGB,
that.
the dumbbell.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's beautiful too.
And it has fairly natural colors, I think, for the 03.
Do you have an
And,
HA filter?
Yeah,
I
this
think-
is using the L enhanced, so it's a dual band filter.
You could put an HA on top of that too.
It's on there. So it's
is it?
this is the hydrogen alpha is the reddish stuff.
I see a little bit. It's a little fair. You can probably get more out of that.
Yeah, these are short subs too. They're 10 seconds.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Now I can see a little bit more. But yeah, you can get more out of that. That's beautiful, man.
And I'm cheating. I'm not guiding, I'm doing baby steps.
Well, for what? 1 second exposures?
This one was 10 seconds. Those are long for me.
Yeah, you don't need to guide for 10 seconds.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I'll show
not with
you,
that mount, not with the AM5.
you need the AM5 I think you could do guiding with like 1 second. It has pretty high periodic noise.
The
It's like really
only
short.
issue without guiding is you can't dither, but it doesn't look like you even
I'm
need to
using
dither.
dithering. Tom taught me how to cheat. So
You can do
Without
mechanical
guiding?
dithering,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sharp Cap has a, you can basically just tell it how many pixels you want
Oh.
to move or how many arc seconds, that kind of thing.
I was
So you
gonna
just
say,
tell it to do it randomly, it's just move over
Yeah.
20
was
You
gonna
can
pixels.
say-
dither even with the tracker,
didn't look like it needed it because you
The
got
tracker does that too, Joe?
that.
No, I mean, you can manually dither with the tracker,
Yeah.
This is better than I've ever taken on
That's
this
great.
object.
You're sweet. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is really a nice object. I really like this image.
Yeah.
It's freaking out really good.
Yeah, I was shocked. I got the data
I
on the
love it.
subject, and I felt like it was kind of red.
Yeah,
So-
you got to hang these up in your house somewhere, dude.
I'm finally getting something that I'm pretty excited about. I'll be honest. This
Yeah.
was 80 minutes.
John, I would be very
And
proud.
that's just
of you.
lights only.
Yeah, there's no yeah. I couldn't use darks. My darks were like messed up.
I
So
would be
just-
very proud of these images.
They're great.
They're
Uh,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the detail is really nice.
It's really
That's-
something.
the short subs can help, and because I'm using a planetary camera,
I
Like,
love this,
man.
dude. This is amazing.
I'm like under 1 arcsecond per pixel, which is kind of oversampled. But because I do short subs, occasionally I get lucky, and seeing is not a consistent thing. Seeing changes pretty rapidly.
Very
And so
rapid.
every now and then I'll get like a sub that's kind of above average seeing. So that's sort of the
Yeah,
one
you
day
know, John, a shiver is going down my spine looking at that. I mean, that is
you're super sweet.
impressive.
This is my longest, 2 hours on the Wizard Nebula.
The wizard, yeah, there he is.
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes or so.
How
And
long was each sub?
these were pretty long for me, 15 seconds.
Ooh, no share.
You're really pushing the envelope there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't go off the deep
I
end.
love this.
yeah.
I
But
love
I
the way
was,
you have it framed like he's just lying on his back.
so exactly this. One thing I'm still trying to figure out is, because my pixels are so small, my stars will saturate even with like very short subs. Because I have a fast scope, it's f4. It's
Right.
actually a little faster with the chroma corrector.
Wow.
And so even with these short subs, I'll saturate stars, which is kind of interesting. But and for
Well,
focus,
your well depth is probably shallower with the small pixel size.
exactly. That's the one disadvantage.
But
of this
people get so hung up on that, and man, I think it's a great shot.
Yeah,
Right.
really.
I really appreciate it. I'm having fun. I was tickled. I was so tickled to like be able to do the. I feel like the monochrome people are experts. And seeing people shoot, LRGB, HA03, all that. And so being able to process with a dual band filter and a color camera was kind of an interesting learning feat, because it gives you two sets of monochrome images. So you have a set of your hydrogen alpha images and a set of your O3 images. And then you can do weird stuff with the pixel math.
Yeah, I thought that the email response that Dan sent you in terms of his sort of formula for that was interesting too. It'd be if you decide to try that, to see what the difference really is.
Yeah, he messaged me directly, and he mentioned that was for PixInsight, but I think you can do it in Serial. It's just a script, and I was blown away by like how like people map all the channels with these wild functions to get the pseudo color.
Yeah.
Did you do something like that with yours, Gary? Because you have a really nice blue and a really nice red. Were you just doing RGB or?
This is RGB, but I have one of the IDAS and that nebula.
I saw that.
So that's what that is. There's no there's nothing beyond that on this. In fact, it doesn't even have like normally I'll boost the saturation a tiny bit or something.
Yeah.
You really don't have any of that. I was surprised. It just kind of came out. And
Yeah, the
I
colors
think, again,
pop.
it's like, it's almost 7 hours worth of data.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
think
a
part
lot
of the
of-
secret.
I wanted to ask you about that. I know it's a lot of data. Do you have a sense, or have you found in practice that there's some magic number or rule of thumb of the number of frames you need to really get that signal to noise ratio great?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the more the better, obviously, but you look at stuff like Dan Stern, and he's got
Yeah.
40 hours worth of data.
Yeah, he'll shoot
yeah,
50
he does.
Stuff like that, and it just gets smoother and smoother and smoother and smoother. I used to always shoot, half hour to an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
And I tried a few test shots with 2 hours worth of data, and then one night I happened to just kind of. I have trees in my yard, so I have kind of a limited window, and there was something almost at the zenith, and I was able to just kind of track that for a while, and it was around 3 hours, and it's sort of like, wow, that it was noticeably better. So this I just tried just for the heck of it. I wasn't even going to combine the two nights, because the data I took at home in my backyard is not as good a sky by far as Frank's.
Mhm.
And then I wasn't even going to combine it. And I thought, why not? So, and it was a little bit weird, because I wound up having I wound up setting it up right before I went to bed. And I thought, it's going to run for an hour, hour and a half or something like that, because it was 200 frames. I came down the next morning, it was 8 hours later and it was still running.
Ah,
And I think the reason is I had the two subdirectories on like two different drives. So I think it was just bouncing back and forth so much that it was using a lot of bandwidth of the USB ports and stuff. But it didn't drop anything, and it did it. And then when I actually opened it up, even with just the the screen transfer function, it was quite good.
yeah.
So yeah, but I don't know. I think you can get away with a fairly low integration time, but
Okay.
the trade-off is noise.
Yep.
Do you see the thing I shared there, John?
I see some curves.
Yeah.
The SNR. So it shows here. Can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the noise here versus signal. Signal is going up and noise is going down. This number right here is right around between 64 and 81. But if you notice that the noise does continue to decrease, it's all it doesn't seem to decrease that much, but when you look at it compared to how strong the signal is, it makes sense. You see that? So
Is the top number there, Lou, just the number of frames or?
okay, so yeah, the number of it's integrated frame count.
Integrated frame count, okay.
Right. 7, 28, each box, it goes up 7, 28, 63, 112. So this is 4,375, or in other words, 625 frames.
Right.
Okay. Here's another way of looking at it: signal strength versus noise. You could find this, and this is a very useful website I have a bookmark on. So John Rista has this posted, and if you type it, oh yeah, you can see the URL.
Rista.
Actually, you know what? I will post this in the chat if you guys. This got me through the beginning of astrophotography. John Rista and Adam Block. When I was first learning, those guys, and the Astro Imaging channel. If you want a good YouTube reference, they're no nonsense, no BS. You guys get that link there? Did it come through on the chat?
It looks like it did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and here's another way to look at it. From, let's see here, signal estimate strength. It goes from 0 to 5,000. So they're starting here at 1,000. And then this is noise. So the noise factor 1 to 64 versus, let's see, signal strength would be 0 with no frames, and 64. So, I mean, there's just two different ways of looking at the same graph.
And graph, yep.
You know?
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And then the other thing I wanted to show you while I have this, it goes through PixInsight. Now there's scripts for this on PixInsight. And I guess it gives you different examples of this. But this isn't as relevant anymore. This is more for academic, exercise, because now with the new stuff that's come out with the, for deconvolution and all,
About the blur exterminator?
the blur exterminator, all that stuff, that's just brought this to an entirely new level.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just taking what we've learned there and, you know, making, making things that much better. It's whatever it costs. A lot of people don't want to spend money. I think Blur Exterminator was, I don't know, $50 or $100 or whatever it is. I look at it in the big scheme of things. I spent thousands of dollars on my equipment. I'm not going to spend $100 more to optimize it.
Yeah.
And it's not like it doesn't do anything. I mean, you've all seen Blur Exterminator at work, right? And all those little add-ons, they're absolutely amazing and worth every penny. And think about it, most of the software we use and for this hobby is practically free, right? Sharp Cap is free, Deep Sky Stalker's free. I mean, there's GIMP is free. I paid for PixInsight, which was worth every penny, and then the PixInsight add-ons. But and it's much better, at least in my opinion, than using Adobe, which you have to pay a subscription or you lose your stuff.
Yeah.
They get you every month. They got to pay them $10, and I mean, I don't know how that works. Is if can you access your stuff if you don't pay them anymore? I suppose you can download it, but do you have all the raw images, and then what do you do from there? You can only,
You do still have you do still have all the raw images. They're all on your drive.
Right, but
I mean, you get the classic versions. You may not be able to edit them using, right? You may not be able to edit PSD files, the Photoshop files.
Right, the Photoshop files.
But you'll certainly still be able to edit your own raw files.
Would you be able to convert the PSD files to another format without losing?
I would
Most
typically
stuff
save them as a
PSD.
TIFF anyway. I don't usually save them as PSDs.
Gotcha. Yeah, and the thing is, and that's a whole other ecosystem that I have to now learn.
Right.
Not saying there's no value to it. Obviously,
Well, my primary interest is photography, so I use it.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And if you already have it, fine. But that's another approach. And some of the add-ons are available for Photoshop as well. But one thing that's good about Photoshop one advantage Photoshop has compared to PixInsight, Photoshop is a non-destructive process. You're working on layers.
If you take advantage of the layers.
Yeah, that's how you do it. I mean,
Right.
you're working on layers, right?
Yeah.
So you don't, with
There's a lot of people that don't, but yes, that's true.
right. Well, that's the whole point of fun. Well, with PixInsight, I mean, you could save your raw file, but you're making changes as things go along, and the only way to repeat that is start from scratch and go back, write down all your steps, but remember where you put all your sliders.
Yeah.
And that's why.
And be sure to save incrementals. It's like version 1.1, 1.2,
Right,
1.5,
right, exactly.
6, 7, right? Like every 10 minutes,
if you look
save
at
another version.
Exactly. And if you look at my final image folder, I have like 30 final images of the same object.
Right.
God, the light might be different one day. I might have the red lights on today. I might have the green ones on tomorrow.
I dropped a link in the chat. You mentioned Blur Exterminator. I found poor man's Blur Exterminator called Astrosharp. It's okay. I used it on those 2 images I just showed you guys though.
Yeah, I've started playing with Astrophotography.
Oh, Tom, we love the free stuff.
Yeah, it will get better because you keep uploading the images and AI is learning. So the more people use it,
Yeah.
the smarter it'll get. and the
Isn't that
better.
amazing?
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's
So-
scary.
It's
as much
bad
as
and good, right?
It's the future.
I use Midjourney
whether we
5. I
like it
mean,
or not.
I generated an image from scratch. I typed in Orion Nebula, 24 hours integration time, all this junk, and it gave me an image from nothing. It looked horrible, but so
Yeah, have you tried to do a search using Bing in Edge lately? It
No.
immediately takes you into an AI search and it
Oh.
starts saying, well, is that really what you want?
Oh, no.
What are you looking for? And then you fortunately have a button that just says, it doesn't say shut up, but it says stop talking or something like that. Because it just keeps, throwing stuff at you. It's like, I haven't even had time to read what I got. And you're trying to prompt me more. And if you don't stop it, it'll continue to scroll up off the screen. Yeah, it's very
But
annoying.
where will we be in 10 years with this?
Lawyers out of work.
No, really, I mean,
No, I have a friend who's a lawyer and he said, thank God I'm retiring. He said, except for the people that, get their hands dirty and do trial work, he said, it's going to be, who knows what's going to happen to that profession, It's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy what can happen. The maliciousness and the good. I mean, you don't want to think one, but where there's good, there's bad.
yeah. Does anyone have any real images to share?
No.
I have a
Seen
single
by
image.
real images.
I have one I have to process.
I have one.
I have a what do you call it? Milky Way from Green Lane, which I
You have one from my backyard? Oh, great.
yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, I went over on the causeway.
But if I need help from one of you guys, if you want to volunteer, raise your hand. We're going to have an event in September at the park there where the amphitheater is. And I don't know if you guys have been privy to what's been going on. But the issue is the bathrooms have white light in them. And they're solar powered and the bathrooms are locked at night. So the lights come on at night when the bathrooms are locked and no one can use it. And Jan has gone back and forth with the officials at Green Lane Park. And the one guy is telling Jan, I can assure you there are motion sensed lights. They only come on when people need them. And, they're not, the bathrooms are not locked. Well, I had to go over there at night to take a picture of the lights on in the bathroom from the outside to demonstrate that the doors were locked. So it's the dumbest and most completely useless idea. Whoever designed this, and this was specifically designed this way, the lights come on at night when no one can use them. And the bathroom.
Well, they don't want anybody breaking in.
The bathroom into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Deposit shit.
Right.
Anyway, so we came to a compromise that they're going to leave one or two bathrooms open, but I need to make and this is where this all came from. I need to make a little red cover for the top of the LED lights. Now, there's got to be the LED is on top of the toilet, and it's high, and I have to measure with a tape measure. And my goal is just to make a little cardboard box and put some red film around it, and then just tape it on there. But I need a step stool, and I need somebody to make sure, spot me. I don't want to drop stuff into the toilet because I'm not going after it. But does
I really like
anybody want to volunteer next time they're up in Green Lane?
You just need a ladder and
A
whatever.
step stool and somebody to help me measure. If you're going to go to Green Lane, you got to go to that place before sunset. So
Before they close and lock the doors.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll do what I can to help you, Lou. Sure.
How
You
done is
know, I can buzz up there. It only takes me a
Just
little
let me
while.
know.
In fact, I met what was his name? I met oh,
Let me know
gentleman.
what
He was
day
who was from
you get.
Philadelphia. He come up and he said, "Yeah, he comes up the turnpike and he gets off in Lansdale." And I'm like, "Lansdale, but Quakertown is right here." And then I realized that he's right. You take 63, bank right into Green Lane.
Yeah,
and
Lansdale's a
29.
little bit easier.
Yeah, and at the moment, you can't get into Red Hill to get on 663.
Oh, right, because the
Right.
road's closed. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Which also, by the way, made for a lot more traffic on Night Road.
yeah. So anyway, if you
Yeah.
drop me an email if you plan on coming up there. Has to happen before middle of September. I just need to make 2 or 3 of the. I just want to take measurements, and I'm guessing, unless you guys have a better idea, if I could just make a cardboard square open on 3 sides or 2 sides, where I could put just tape red film with red brake light tape, and then that whole thing will get taped onto the wall. Hopefully, that won't fall into the toilet. I mean, I don't understand. The whole purpose of having lights is to use them, and I don't understand why they would put them in there. The park, they promote the
But
nighttime use of the park.
If you're going to go in there and do this, why don't you just change out the lights?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean,
They're going to let you go in there and cover the lights up. And it's like, dude, why don't you just let me put some,
I don't know what, I don't know.
daylight.
They're LED lights. I don't, they
Yeah,
want to
but
make sure
you
that we remove the fixture that we put on afterwards. And that's the thing, though. It doesn't make a difference, because when I remove them, no one can use the damn bathroom anyways. It's locked. So, they've done such a good job everywhere else in the park. Like, they have bat boxes to promote the bat population. Now they're screwing up with this, the habitat of these nocturnal animals, these nocturnal creatures that live in the park, at least around the bathrooms. By these lights are on from sunset to sunrise.
Well,
Anyway, Jeff,
Inside.
this is a really nice shot you took. You posted this. It's a nice layout, nice composition. And
I mean, I couldn't see it. So the camera picked it up and I couldn't even see it.
Where is it?
It's over on the causeway, over on one of the fishing piers. So you go past where we normally.
Share it. Let's see it.
I am sharing, aren't I?
it's up.
Yeah.
I don't see
up.
it.
I see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
see
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a browser that was on top of it.
All right. Yeah. So you go past where we park normally.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And there's another lot up there. It's a much smaller lot, just before the bridge, which has a walkway going up to it.
Right.
And the walkway, it has the real high walls on the side, or gates, or what do you call it? But anyway, they also have like 2 or 3 fishing, I call them piers,
Right.
just projections off the side of that. And there were a bunch of guys fishing on the first one, so I just went to the second one, and I was there probably. I hadn't even gotten set up yet, and a family came up playing with a green laser. Like,
Jeez.
Jeff, what time was it?
When they came?
Well, when you took this picture.
Oh, I don't know exactly. I'm sure I could tell you, but it was. I mean, I shot.
It wasn't completely dark yet, right?
Pardon me?
Was it completely dark already?
It was. I left there at about 10:45, and I
Okay.
shot the whole time I
And
was.
they were out there fishing.
No, they left. By the time I set up, because I wanted to get set up in the daylight, or not
Right.
daylight, but the twilight. And I had to actually stand there and wait to see Polaris because it wasn't coming through. And then it would start to come and it would go and it would come and it would go. I was like, well, that's interesting.
Well, you could see M8 there,
Yeah, you see M8, you see Sagittarius, M8.
Sagittarius, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's Sagittarius, and it's
And
cool. It
there's
looks like the
a,
Milky Way is coming out of the tea
You
kettle.
can see the rift in the Milky Way as you go up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's, yeah. Yeah.
I think
You know,
got the
that's pretty
sputum-
low
the
in,
Sputum cloud. You know?
Yeah, the sputum cloud, yeah.
that's pretty low in the light pollution. I bet you if
It is.
further high up, you know, if you pointed the camera toward the zenith, you get even more out of it.
You would, but at the same time, you would just be shooting stars, which
Right. I
know,
love I
and
like
it's
the
not,
light.
it wouldn't be the core.
Right.
And I went out there specifically to get the water, you know, because to have some sort of a foreground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how long was the exposure?
30 seconds. I shot 30 seconds all night long. And if you look really, really close, my stars are not real round.
It looks fine.
Yeah. I think that there was so much traffic going back and forth because my stars were like they were like little mini asteroids. And I think that's because every time a car went by, which there were a lot of, it just vibrated the
Vibrates.
ground just enough to get that teeny little bit of distortion in there.
Is that M21 I see there?
I don't know. I can tell you that it's a Canon DSLR EOS R with the HA mod.
I
So-
think I see a globular cluster right above Sagittarius. Is that M21?
You're asking the wrong guy. That's the kind of stuff I don't know. Whoops, sorry. That's
Yeah, that's M21.
where's this?
See where go back to the top of Sagittarius, the top of the tea kettle.
Sorry, no, I'm not. I do not know the night sky well enough. This was my starting point here.
Do you see M8, the star cluster?
I do not.
Okay, so there's a little star cluster in the middle of the Milky Way in the rift.
The problem is right at the moment when I select in there. Let me see if I can. Okay.
Right there. Okay,
Right there is M8.
That's
M8.
M8.
Now go to your left.
That's the Lagoon Nebula.
Go
Okay.
to the left. Go to the left.
That's Lambda
right there.
Sagittarius.
To the right. Right there. One of those is M21.
Right in there. Yeah.
Globular cluster.
Yeah, I was definitely picking up some HA. This is an artifact. I think this is a contrail right here.
There's a lot of satellites going through that area. It was
Oh
up in,
my God, the
in,
satellites and airplanes.
up in,
Jeez.
no, I was using a pair of binoculars. Now they're big binoculars and have about 2.6 degree field. And there
Right.
wasn't a 1 minute period where something didn't cross the field when I was down in Sagittarius looking
How are you
around.
holding them steady, Tom?
They're on they're 6-inch reverse binocular telescope. I have them on a mount and everything.
I was gonna say they're heavy.
Yeah. But I have Joe, you said you had something you wanted to show. I have something really goofy to show. It's kind of like a failed experiment that's kind of fun.
Do you want to do
That's
yours?
what this kind of was.
Do you want to do yours, Tom?
Well, I can show it. This is an attempt. This is up at Stellafane. Now, a funny thing is, I used a 462 with a fisheye lens on a tripod. Now, if I say roll 16, which I forgot to look at, when you do, I'm just saving individual frames. So you do a PNG, it's black and white. It's mono. You gotta do RGB 24 to get color. I'm not sure why. If you do raw 16 and it's a video, it's color. But anyway, this is. You guys see that?
Oh wow,
Oh, yeah.
that's beautiful,
It's just
dude.
But look at all the lights flashing around.
It's okay.
By the thing.
Yeah.
You can see all the satellites and different things
Yeah.
going by.
I
It's
love
just
the clouds. Look how dark and eerie it is. Where is this at Stellafane?
Stellafane
Oh,
from the
that's great.
campsite. I camp lower and I'm close to a road, so everybody leaves there. Up in the
Headlights.
observing field, it's not quite as bad, but this is very convenient
Tom,
being by my,
this is wonderful,
I think.
buddy.
But it'd look better if it was color. And it's going to look, I'm going to make this attempt again. I'm going to the Black Forest Star Party. If it's clear, I won't have all this flashing light and I'll make sure it's color and I should be able to get as
I
much.
see airplanes and I see satellites.
Yeah, there's all kinds of
See
stuff. I mean, it
both.
was just ridiculous in the binoculars. I mean, literally ridiculous.
I set up a tracker and I was getting blasted. I mean,
Oh, down there. Yeah, you were
yeah.
pretty close. You set up, right? It's just, it's nuts.
yeah. So then I drove, 20 miles to another area. And then as soon as I set up, the clouds rolled in, it was just one of those nights, just crazy, but that was really cool.
It's
It's
Like,
very
as
cool. I
soon
like
as
it.
I wheel my telescope out anytime, the clouds they just start coming.
It's your
Follow
fault.
the scope.
It's Murphy's Law.
Yeah. So do you have something, Joe?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
It's
if I can manage actually sharing,
If you get,
yeah,
you get the mechanics down.
which is,
That's easy
which
work.
is always, it's just a shot. Can you guys see it?
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Wait.
That's really nice.
Ooh,
Really struggling with the seeing, this was done, I used wind
July.
GPOs.
That's
the
beautiful.
The seeing was about about 3 arc seconds this night, and it really wasn't very good. In fact, it's hard to get, you're talking about focusing. It's hard to get those the ADCs to even work.
Did you use the
When
ADC?
things
on
are
this?
as turbulent as they are, and this was my best attempt,
When was
to do
this?
it.
Or what night?
This was almost a month ago. I mean, I was even out
28th
last night.
of July.
This was the beginning
Oh,
of
I see it, yeah.
August, I think, that I did this.
And
When
what you
is-
use, Joe?
I'm sorry,
What you use? Is that your C14 or C11?
I see 11 at F20.
When is Saturn in opposition in October or September?
Real close. No,
I think
it's in opposition like in the next couple
Couple
weeks.
days.
Yeah,
Oh,
a couple
right.
days.
That is just
This
a couple
month.
days away.
Yeah, it's transiting at about 1 a.m., and we're on Eastern Daylight Time. So and Jupiter is about 3 hours later. Believe it or not, I'm having an easier time with Saturn than I am with Jupiter. And having some.
That's really good because Jupiter's hard because it is not that bright.
Well, this year I'm having some color issues, and what I've
I like the
doing,
color you got
I
here.
kind of went through Agapios. I was real down about like 40 and 50 frames per second. And I noticed Agapios, like he's got that gain jacked up like way higher than even ZWO says to do it. And if I do that and I tweak the gamma a little bit, I can get up to maybe 94, 95 frames a second. But I really have to work at it to do that, because if I just fool around, like I look and I'm in like 35 frames a second. So I
Yeah,
noticed
Saturn's tough. Yeah, it's tough to get. I don't know if I ever got much above. I know I didn't get above 100 with Saturn. Maybe
I've never done over
85.
100. I've
Maybe
never gotten over
85,
100. Yeah, so
I-
this is about the
I've gotten
best.
around 80 with Saturn, something like
Right.
that.
But the rings in 25 are going to be edgewise. They're going edgewise, and right now I think they're only open about 9 degrees, like a
Yeah.
big difference from
A
last
big
year.
difference from last year, yeah.
Yeah, but
Agapios, I think, just opened up as observatory. Should we invite him to show us the telescope and while Saturn's rings are still open?
oh yeah, the big observatory, right?
Yeah, the biggest one
Yeah.
in Cyprus.
Oh, that would be nice. Maybe in the fall.
Well, I
Mhm.
mean, Saturn is only going to be around.
Jupiter's behind it,
Right. Maybe you can have him to Jupiter.
Saturn's
Yeah.
not going to be primed till. I mean, it's right now. It crosses like Joe said at 1 in. I mean,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
won't really be
we've gotta
primed for a
Give it
couple
3
more.
months at least. I
Yeah,
think,
and the next month,
plan.
and then another month, it'll be a little easier. It'll be crossing at 11, and
right.
that's a little more. It's not quite as bad.
Yeah, I'm
The
just
color
waiting
is
for a
really
night
nice
of
on
real-
this, Joe. I really like this shot. This is very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm looking for a
even
night of really good seeing,
You
'cause
can
this is a
almost
struggle.
see the hexagon near the top. It's greener for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm saying almost,
Right.
but you can definitely see the
I'm
change
gonna have a
of
gin and
color.
tonic and I'll look again.
Yeah, yeah, right.
No.
Depends how much wine I have when I'm imaging.
Yeah.
I'll sharpen
Right.
it.
Well, take a look at on the left edge on the top on the north, first of all, the South Pole, it's all one color, right? So you can't really tell the hexagon on the South Pole, but on the North Pole, you can see how near the equator, there's like the tropic line there,
Right.
and then the next one, what are the doldrums, I guess, a little further up. And then I guess it would be the 60 or 70 degrees from the.
Yeah. So what kind of mount you using here, Joe? Is it an old as?
It's just a Lost Mandy. Just a Lost
Okay, so
Mandy.
it's
their
German
old-
equatorial.
It's their old Titan, but it's essentially a souped up G11, you know?
Yeah, so it's a German equatorial.
Yeah,
So your ADC values change as the clock runs
right.
because your
I mean,
horizon
sometimes
is
it's so
shifting on you.
turbulent, I'm not even sure I have the ADC, and sometimes, you know, like I'll put it, you know, I'll get it and I'll go through everything and then I'll put it in Photoshop, you know, and I'll turn up the saturation. I'll find out that, you know, that the RGB still isn't perfect. I still have to tweak it a little bit. I don't get it. I can't seem to get it exactly
Well,
perfect.
yeah, the ADC is all about the blue and the red edges,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Now, how do you use the two now? You using fire capture or sharp cap or
Fire capture.
yeah, you're using the ADC tool, right? Try to zoom in on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But see, when you got 3 arc second seeing,
Yeah. When the
those little
seeing is
circles are
bad,
probably
you know,
bouncing like crazy.
it's
They
kind of
are.
like
They-
guesswork, you
They
know?
are.
And I
Yeah,
think
with-
what helped me out here was using the WinJu post because you know, it gives you the benefit of more frames. And I was shooting 2-minute subs on this only because, you know, it doesn't have a ton of detail. And the detail from one spot, you know, in latitude is similar to this. So I kind of cheat a little bit. You know, some people are really, you know, they don't want to go over a minute even with Saturn, you know, but I figure it doesn't really
I don't
change.
even go a minute. I usually go about 45 seconds.
Yeah, with Jupiter, I keep it under a minute, but with Saturn, I figure I could cheat a little bit. And this was like 9 videos, you know, derotated in WinJu post. And I think that's how I got anything at all because the seeing was just terrible, you know?
Yeah, I find that's the biggest factor with that. with
Yeah.
ADC.
Yeah.
Right.
It drives me crazy some nights. And then like you'll get a little bit of couple minutes or something, not even minutes, but a short amount of time of seeing. You can see everything line up and then it's just gone.
Right. Right.
So I think maybe if we were in Cyprus, it would
Yeah,
work
seeing
better
is
for us.
everything. I mean, with the planet, seeing is 90% of the game.
Right.
One of the things I do is I record each individual video, you know, when I do the analysis to see where that, you know, 50% line is. And a lot of times it's like 25% on some of them. On some of them, it's 12%. You know, I've rarely gotten from my backyard anything over 25%. You know,
Last year, Joe, we had 4 nights that were unbelievable. I mean, I just the seeing was just phenomenal. And I mean, that's where I got my best images. And it was like you're shooting maybe 4,000 frames, you're stacking 2,000 frames. You're stacking half of them.
Right.
You know, because they're all
It's
and you're
rare.
still
Yeah.
and you're at 2,000 frames out of 4,000, the quality level is like 58% still, you know, on 2,000. So you just and that makes all the difference in the world, of course, you know.
Tom, I don't want you to talk about those couple nights again. That was the time when I was outside thinking of you, hoping you got something, because I decided to change after like 10 years of having my 9 1/4. I decided a week before to put Bob's knobs on it instead of the Allen, you know, the
the Allen
screws.
Yeah.
You got them?
And I got
tuned in?
nothing. I got nothing. And I was looking at it through a scope next to it, thinking, oh my God, this is like the best it's been all year.
Yeah, it was
Did you finally
so
get
good.
them dialed in?
I mean
Gary?
one
No,
night.
no, I didn't. I wound up after 3 hours, I wound up just calling it a night. I came in and I walked in the family room. Tracy was in here and I said, first thing I said was, I hope Tom was out imaging tonight because I want to see what it really looked like.
one night when we had one of these meetings, and at the end of the meeting, I had my 10-inch out and I had it all wired in, and I was showing the live view, the live view you get with Sharp Cap or Fire Cap or whatever on the screen. And the detail was unreal because most of the time the things are bubbling all over the place, and you say, "Well, I hope I get something out of this."
Yeah.
But you could see a lot of detail in the live image, which knows at that point you're in good shape. You're in
You're in
Fat
good
City.
shape.
Rub it in.
Hey,
But,
Wayne, did you wind up getting anything with Jupiter at Frank's?
No,
I thought you were gonna set up, you was talking about setting
I
up.
did. Well, I got some images, but they look terrible. They're very soft. They're not detailed like the one that Joe got there. I shot several thousand frames, and it's just I don't know if I wasn't in focus. It was even at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was I couldn't see the focus right.
Yeah, I mean, the seeing was bad that night down Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when you really have trouble focusing. That's a real bad sign of the scene.
Right.
Is crap.
looking
I
through
wish-
the eyepiece, I couldn't find a good focus.
Yeah, well, that's a bad story there.
I wish on
Yeah.
on Saturday night I had my other scope because early in the night the scene was just great, and I had no way to really image, to do the planetary stuff, and I was thinking, oh man, this is the
Once again.
yeah, well that was more
Yeah.
conscious because I was taking baby steps to
Yeah.
kind of get back into it.
Yeah.
But that's when I was wishing, oh, I wish I had my other scope too, but
Yeah.
it's still early.
Oh yeah, it's just the beginning. It was just really the beginning.
And now I just got the ASI 174 camera that Tom uses, and I'm eager to try that out on the sun. And now the forecast looks like lousy
Yeah.
weather for a while for the sun.
That's a great,
Yeah.
I have one of those too. That is a great camera.
Yeah, I love that camera.
I've had mine for years, and man, wonderful camera.
That's the
Yeah, it's
one
great
with the
for the
larger
store.
pixels, the one with the,
Yeah,
Yeah, 5.8,
like five, was it 5?
5.8, 5.8.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was using the color one, and I think it was Prasad or somebody was mentioned on the forum that why are you still using the color one? And I realized, yeah, that's right. I forgot that's limiting my resolution. So I
By a
decided
factor of
to
4.
invest in a monochrome. So
Yeah.
now I've got cloudy weather for the foreseeable future.
You're the one who caused it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Prasad came a long way very quickly.
Yeah.
I remember
really good.
it was just a few months ago how frustrated he was, and
He was
some,
using the color camera too.
and some of the
Yeah.
images now that he's producing
You switch over. It's
are
yeah,
they're very impressive.
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
really
definitely.
helping the club out too. He's refurbishing a Meade telescope. He's on the Meade discussion groups and stuff. One of the problems with those Meade SETs is they have a bad couple of chips, and the chips they age over time, and then the electronics don't work. Well, he can fix that, and he just fixed multiple
Really?
scopes. And we have another one I just did the tripod. I just kind of refurbished the tripod. Now I'm going to see if the SET itself works, but if not, I'm going to give it to Prasad. And he said, if he can find the chips, he's going to fix it for us. And then we'll just
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
just
very
put it up
impressed
for-
by him.
put it up in December.
That's
Yeah.
great, yeah.
I mean, he wanted Stellafane. He's ground mirrors, and in fact, I was on the Stellafane site a couple of years ago. They interviewed him up there. He won the optical up there.
This group, I'm really proud of you guys. We've done a lot to help the members since we got organized. A lot of people have benefited from the collection of our intellects, where everybody shares everything. And I mean, this is On that note, though, I'm starting to doze off. If you guys want to continue.
I'm gonna pull off too. I'm
Yeah, I'm
fading
ready to
out.
wrap up.
Yeah.
Yep. I appreciate you guys. A year ago, I didn't know anything, and now I know how much I don't know.
That's when you know you're in good shape.
That's right.
There you go.
Well said, John.
Yeah, I'm starting to knock off, but this will be posted on the website. I mean, it's recorded live. If anybody has any thing else they want to note before we
Yeah,
knock off.
just on Friday's meeting, Joe, I guess things are all go, right? I mean, it looks like the rain is going to be more in the morning. It's going to be dry at night now. You're muted, Joe. Joe, you're muted. Joe, you're muted.
Yeah, we ordered the food, so I guess it's a go, you know?
It's a go. Okay.
So,
Okay,
Even if
then.
we don't have it, drive by and I'll give you a hoagie, you know?
Yeah.
exactly.
You have
Because,
a
I mean, we
stand
have-
outside your house.
We have many pounds of food coming, and I know
Yeah.
Tracy's doing a lot for that too, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked a little like it was going to be stormy at night, but now they're saying it's
Yeah.
all in the morning, and by the afternoon it's clearing out, and so
yeah, it might be
it should be
okay.
as long as it's dry. That's really the key. If
Yeah.
it's clear, that's another bonus.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be fine.
so the Green Lane Star Party is September 9th. If I could use some help, if anybody's going to come up before that, let me know. I'd asked my wife to help, but she just got COVID, and man,
Sorry to hear that.
I feel so bad for her.
A lot of that going around.
Yeah, lately. And when is our next meeting supposed to be scheduled, because now this was I didn't even realize we had a meeting tonight. I don't have anything on the calendar yet.
I mean, there's my calendar here. I have it. Of course, we got the DVA meeting on Friday, and Saturday is Valley Forge, and next month it's the 22nd. So that means on the 20th will be the next astrophotography meeting.
The 20th.
Wednesday,
There
the
was
20th.
a reason that I wanted to move that, because there was something else happening. Hold on a minute. Did we have another event scheduled? No, okay. All right, so then I'll put it on the calendar for the 20th.
So tell me about Friday night. I mean, I've never seen or done that before with this group.
Well, it's basically I mean,
Kind of a
it's
picnic.
basically a picnic, you know.
Yeah,
and there'll be
it's a lot of
some
fun. It's nice.
Will be some posters there, but it's mainly for people to socialize, I think, you
Yeah.
know.
Joe's setting up a thing on eclipses. I'm doing a little things on solar. Gary, if you can make it there, we'll be doing some EAA stuff and just talk about it. But it's very informal. Everybody walks around. You get to meet people
Yeah,
and talk to people. You might not talk too much, you know. And
yeah, it's more of a meet and greet, I think.
it's very kind of a meet.
Did
Does the
everybody
public really
meet?
show up?
What's this?
Does the public really show up like they do at the star parties?
There was a pretty decent crowd last year. I mean, these are actually members. Not really the public. It's
Yeah,
they're
I
all
think
members.
this is more or less members.
Mainly.
This is
More
the
of a
one
members
meeting that's
thing.
more or less members only. I don't think it's advertised that much to the public. There might be
It
some.
says public welcome, but you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then family of members and so all that stuff.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
usually a lot of fun, you know, really is.
Yeah.
You don't need
It was
to
a lot of
bring
fun
anything.
last.
Don't need to bring anything or contribute anything.
No, we have Ann and Tracy, my wife Tracy.
Put a lot of work into this, I'm
have
sure.
a bunch of stuff. Bring an appetite.
Yeah. There was a lot of food last year, I remember.
Yeah.
That was great.
This is at Fort
I'll
Washington.
try to get there. My wife is having issues where I can't leave her alone too long. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to come, but I'm not gonna leave my wife at home alone.
it's
I hope I don't get COVID too. I mean, we're so far.
well, if you're exposed to it, you probably
you
shouldn't.
I know. She got it. She tested herself on Sunday, and I've tested myself every day since. She's sleeping in one bedroom. I'm sleeping somewhere else. She's wearing a mask. We're barely seeing each other. It's driving us
So
nuts.
what's the problem here?
I volunteer at a food bank on Mondays, and this week they started masking up again.
Yeah,
So,
the doctor's offices are too.
yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, all right, so then our next meeting will be September 20th. Unless,
I looked at
Somebody
the
is-
DVAA calendar just now, and it looks like that's when the Green Lane,
oh,
Oh,
that's what it was.
that's their
You
next.
know, should we have it a different day? That's, Stanley, you're right.
Yep.
that was your conflict then.
Should we have, can we take a vote? Do we want to have this another day, like the week beforehand, or? Let me look at the calendar. Or the Tuesday beforehand,
Yeah, Tuesday would be okay. I would,
Tuesday would work. for me.
Tuesday the 19th?
yeah, sure.
Okay. DVAA Zoom. Astrophotography. All right, I'll just have to remember. Yeah, what was on that day?
It's the
Green Lane.
Green Lane. It's their they call it the
Oh, their meeting.
yeah, it's their master plan meeting number
Yeah,
2.
yeah, we don't want to miss that. Okay. All right, so 7:30 or whatever on the 19th, Tuesday. Does somebody else want to host? Or are you guys still sticking me with this?
Crickets.
I hear crickets. Come on, I gotta write the freaking reminders.
Oh, do you have a club account? Is that what do you use a club account?
Yeah,
Or, you know,
I'm the only one who can figure out how to use it. That's the problem. And the only reason why that is because I have everything saved in my browser. And all I have to do is hit the button. It's all remembers. I don't have to type in any passwords or anything.
well,
So-
what do you do? I mean, it's not
Once
that
that-
complicated.
Ask Tom and Joe how hard.
Yeah.
Well,
I
what,
had a failed attempt.
Lou, I used to be able to do it, and it seemed like the last time we tried to do it, it didn't work. You know?
Everything is saved on my browser.
okay, when I say what do you do? Are you talking
I
about
click a button on my
no, I mean, are you
The guy drive to Lou's house,
simultaneously
open his
broadcasting?
computer, his browser. and click
I have the password right here, but the last time we tried to use it, it didn't seem to work.
So the other thing that is important is whoever does the meeting has to have an account on YouTube if you want it recorded, and you got to go through Jeremy to do that. And there's
Well-
only
Why do you have to have an account on YouTube to ever record it?
so that we can record it on YouTube.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Okay. All right.
Because it's also
Yeah.
we're also streaming live now, and technically one of us should be monitoring the chatting if someone is watching. Oops.
Yeah,
So I don't know if anybody's
yeah.
watching.
there wasn't a lot of chatting tonight.
No, just the one
I didn't even know we had a meeting tonight.
address.
All right, so I'm gonna try to remember to send out a message, but
Really good seeing you, Gary. Glad you're up and
Yeah,
about.
guys.
See you,
Yeah.
Gar.
Yeah,
Take care.
definitely.
Seeing y'all.
See-
All right.
The
I'm
only-
gonna
the
shove
only
off, too.
reason why I knew we had a meeting tonight was because Steve Haas logged in and I got a notification on my phone.
There you go.
Well,
Steve.
I logged in to the website and the website said the meeting started at 7. So I checked in at 7 and all I heard was crickets.
Oh, I didn't even get that. I sat just waiting until Lou came in. And then Lou's like, oh, look, somebody's here.
Yeah, so anyway, if anybody wants to is interested in taking over at any time, please, you have my blessing. Just let me know.
Well, I don't want to take over, but if that's probably something I can help with. I don't know how to.
If we could share the responsibility, that would be great. The only problem is if we have more than one person,
Oh, I can't really commit because normally I can't attend to these things because
right,
my camera club meeting is this night.
Yeah, the thing is, if we have more than one person, and it's like, oh, I
Right.
thought you were gonna be on this week. Oh, I thought you were gonna, then it becomes.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm stuck.
I could try. I could. When did you say the next one is?
Well, you'd have to log in. You have to get the credentials from Jeremy. You'd have to have Joe. Do you have a YouTube account tied to your account?
No,
I might be able to help out, Lou. Jeremy, I think at some point set me up with the
You
the
do have
YouTube
that?
and Zoom. I might have the YouTube and the Zoom, but I have to look into it. We'll see.
All
So
right.
that's going to have to be the club channel, right? On
Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to have your account verified, and then once it's verified, it'll be linked. So
I
when
think I've done that.
So what happens is when I log in on Zoom, on the bottom right hand corner, there. Here, I'm gonna